In this lecture, we are going to talk about the verb paradigm. Previously, we've said that the verb paradigm consists maximally of five forms, including the stem, the third person singular form, the present participle form, the past form, and the past participle form. So we have five forms in the verb paradigm. For example, the verb cry, which is the stem. The third person singular form is cries. The present participle is crying. The past is cried, and the past participle is cried also. Seek, seeks, seeking, sought, sought. Have, has, having, had, and had. Now it's time to talk about the positions and uses of the forms in the verb paradigm. We have five forms. The first form is the stem. The stem is the form of the verb without any inflectional affixes. We can find the stem in three positions in English sentences. The first position is that it comes after to. For example, he wants to travel abroad. Travel is the stem of the verb travel. It is the verb without any inflectional affixes, so it is the stem. So in this position, after to, the verb is in its stem form. For example, he is going to travel. He wants to travel. So after to, we have the stem form of the verb. The second position of the stem is after modal auxiliaries. For example, should, may, might, can, could, will, shall, etc. After them, the form of the verb is the stem. The verb without any inflectional affixes. We should have a verb without any inflectional affixes after these modal auxiliaries. For example, though malice may darken truth, it cannot put it out. Notice that after may, we have the verb darken. Darken is a verb without any inflectional affixes, so it is in its stem form. Cannot put it out. Cannot put. Put is in its stem form because it comes after the modal auxiliary can. So after modal auxiliaries, the verbs take the form of the stem. The third position is that it comes after the plural subjects in the present simple tense. When the subject in a present simple tense sentence is a plural noun or a plural pronoun, the following verb should be in its stem form. It means that there should not be any inflectional affix attached to it. So it is in its stem form. For example, cats hate water. Cats is a plural subject. After cats, we have hate. Hate is the stem. No inflectional affix is attached to hate, so it is the stem. The second form in the verb paradigm is the third person singular form. It only comes after singular subjects in the present simple tense. So this is the only position that we can find the third person singular form. For example, Sandra stays at a cheap hotel. This sentence is in the present simple tense. The subject is singular, Sandra. So the verb should be in its third person singular form. The S third person singular is attached to the verb to make it third person singular form. So Sandra stays, the verb is stay. After attaching the S third person singular, it becomes stays. We call this form third person singular form. Another example is Jennifer is a nurse at the local hospital. Jennifer is a singular subject. Is the main verb, and it is in its third person singular form. The stem is be. The third singular form is. It is one of the irregular verbs. So is the third person singular form of the verb be, and the tense of this sentence is present simple tense. In the last example, she has her father's eyes. Has is the third person singular form. The stem is have. We use has because the subject is singular and the tense is present simple tense. So has is the third person singular form because the subject is singular, she. The third form in the verb paradigm is called the present participle or the ing form. We can find this form in continuous tenses. The general structure of the continuous tenses is be, the verb be, plus a verb with ing. This verb with ing is called the present participle or the ing form. For example, inflation is rising, and this will create problems for home buyers. Is rising. Rising here is a verb in its present participle or ing form, because here we have be plus a verb with ing. Another example is I was camping when I got stung by a bee. Was camping, be plus verb with ing. This verb with ing, camping, is the present participle form or the ing form. I will be waiting for you when your bus arrives. Will be waiting, be plus waiting. Again, waiting is in its present participle or the ing form. James has been teaching at the university since June. Has been teaching, be plus ing. Been teaching. So teaching is in its present participle or ing form. Before going to the form number 4, let's have 2 notes about the third form, which is the present participle. The first note says that the present participle form is used as a subjectless verbal when it is not the main verb and it doesn't have a subject. Now we have a new term that is called subjectless verbal. What is a subjectless verbal? A subjectless verbal is a form with ing, is a verb with ing, but it is not a verb because it is not the main verb in the sentence and it doesn't have a subject. So it is called a subjectless verbal. So once we say that it is a subjectless verbal, it means that it is not the main verb in the sentence and it doesn't have a subject. In the first example, his passion used to be playing golf. His passion is the subject. Used to be is the verb. Playing golf is the object. Notice that playing, a verb plus ing, here is the object, which means that it is a noun, not a verb. We call this noun subjectless verbal because first, it doesn't have a subject. It is preceded by a verb, not a noun, not a subject. And second, it is not the main verb in this sentence. The main verb is used to be. So because of these 2 reasons, playing here is not a verb. It is not the present participle of the verb. It is a noun. It is the object of this sentence and we call it subjectless verbal. Another example is eating vegetables is good for health. In this sentence, the main verb is. The verb to be is. Eating vegetables is the subject of this sentence, and good for health is the complement. It is an adjective. Eating vegetables is the subject. Eating, a verb with ing, is not a verb here, is not the present participle of the verb. Here, it is a subjectless verbal. First, because it is not the main verb in this sentence. The main verb is, and it is not preceded by a subject. It doesn't have a subject. So we call it a subjectless verbal. The second note says that verbs referring to mental activities, sensation, and ownership are rarely used with the ing verbal as main verbs in continuous tenses. So in continuous tenses, we cannot use the verbs that refer to mental activities, sensation, and ownership. We cannot have them with the ing verbal. These verbs include own, know, remember, see, hear, love, need, believe, like, think, see, etc. All these verbs cannot have the ing verbal in continuous tenses. For example, I am remembering your face well. This sentence is wrong, is grammatically incorrect, because remember is one of the mental verbs. I cannot say I'm remembering your face well. In fact, I have to say I remember your face well, not I'm remembering your face well. She might be seeing us now. It is wrong to say so. It is grammatically incorrect. We have to say she might see us now. She might see us now to make it grammatically correct. The only way to use the verbs that refer to mental activities, sensation, and ownership with the ing is to use them as subjectless verbals. For example, remembering old days at high school made me nostalgic. In this sentence, the main verb is made. Remembering old days at high school is the subject of this sentence. Notice that remembering is a verb plus ing. This verb refers to a mental activity. We use the ing with this verb because here it is a subjectless verbal. It doesn't have a subject, and it is not a main verb in this sentence. That is why we can use it as a subjectless verbal in this sentence, because it is not the main verb. In the second example, I remember seeing some pictures of my grandfather beside the lake. Remember is the main verb. I is the subject, remember is the main verb. Seeing some pictures of my grandfather is the object. Notice that seeing, see plus ing, is a verb of sensation. Here, it's okay to use it with ing because it is not the main verb and it doesn't have a subject. In fact, it is a subjectless verbal. It is the object of this sentence. It is a subjectless verbal. That is why we can use it with the ing. Now it's time to move to the fourth form in the verb paradigm, which is the past form. The past form can be found in the past simple tense only. We can find the past form in the past simple sentences. This form is made by adding the inflectional suffix ed past to verbs with three different allomophs, te, de, or id. For example, Alice handed me the newspaper. Handed is a verb in the past simple tense. In addition, some verbs have irregular past forms. They can be made past by replacive allomophs or by zero past. For example, they put aside their differences during the last war. Put here is made past by zero past. There is no change there is no addition of ed, but it is the past form of put, because the sentence is in the past simple tense. We can know that from last war. She forgot his birthday again. Forgot is a verb in the past form. The sentence is in the past simple tense, and forgot is an irregular verb in the past form. The last form in the verb paradigm is the past participle form. This form is made by adding the inflectional suffix ed past participle to verbs. And just like the ed past, the result is going to be three different allamorphs: te, de, id. In addition, some irregular verbs are made past participle by the replacive allamorphs and zero past participle. For example, stay, stayed. Stayed is the past participle form of stay by adding ed past participle. Made is the past participle form of make by the replacive allamorph. Put is the past participle form of the verb put by adding nothing by zero past participle. The past participle form is used in the perfect tenses and in the passive structures. So we can find the past participle form in these two types of sentences: perfect tenses and passive structures. For example, he has selected a beautiful gown. Has selected. Here we have a present perfect tense. The ed here is ed past participle, so selected is the past participle form of the verb select, because here we have a present perfect tense. The house was sold with double price. Was sold. Here we have a passive sentence. Sold here is a verb in the past participle form because we have a passive sentence.